free throw all game.
All right, plenty of history on the line for these two, specifically, though, for Kansas City in 8 days, Super Bowl 59. With a win, the Chiefs would become the first team to ever win 3 straight Super Bowls. It would also give them a 5th Lombardi trophy, tied for the 3rd most of any franchise. Meanwhile, the Chiefs also seeking their 10th straight playoff win, which would tie the Patriots from 0-1 to 0-5 for the longest streak all time. And that includes 4 straight wins when trailing in the 4th quarter. As for that, Mahomes is the only QB to win 4 straight playoff games when trailing in the 4th. And next Sunday, he'll look to become the 2nd youngest player to ever start and win 4 Super Bowls, trailing only Hall of Famer Jack Lambert. Michelle Steele is in KC with the back-to-back champs.
When you go to the Super Bowl as much as the Chiefs have, 5 of the last 6 to be exact, you get to develop a Super Bowl routine. That is what Andy Reid is calling it, and they are in their Super Bowl routine for the first week of preparation ahead of leaving for New Orleans this weekend. Now, that means treating it almost like a game week where they would play on Sunday, putting in the game plan, doing the install, practicing in the Chiefs' indoor facility. Now, one big positive for this team, just the health of the Chiefs so far. Injuries do not appear to be much of a concern at this point. As for the vibes, the 2 words I would use for KC after being around this team this week, amped up. They are ready to get to New Orleans.
NFL analyst Sam Acho is with us this morning, fresh off of a tour of the University of Miami's campus, judging by the colorway that we're rocking, Acho. No, the Chiefs have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in the playoffs since Steve Spagnuolo took over as DC in 2019. Does Saquon end that run?
He does. And I think the reason that he does is the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles are committed to the running game. And this started early on in this Eagles tenure, in this Eagles career when it comes to running the football. Think about what this Saquon Barkley-led offense has looked like. They've been a dominant team when it comes to in the red zone, but also when it comes to explosive plays. And Nick Sirianni, when he first came to the Eagles, initially was a little bit of a pass-heavy offense. Then about halfway through his first year, he flipped over and said, let's be more dominant in the run game. And all of a sudden, they started winning over and over and over again. And so for me, it's the commitment to the run game as well as the opportunities for big plays for Saquon.
The explosive plays are certainly there, and they have been in this postseason. Saquon is averaging 145 rushing yards in his last 10 games. We've got more from Sam Acho in just a moment.
Let's stay with those Eagles, and we'll hone in on Saquon. Super Bowl 59 going to mark Philly's 5th Super Bowl appearance in their franchise's history. They've only won once in their previous 4 appearances. That was back in 2017 when they ended the run of the Patriots. It's been the Saquon show for the Birds this season. He enters Super Bowl 59 needing just 30 yards rushing to pass 1998's Terrell Davis for the most in a single season, including the playoffs. In the league's history, the Broncos won the Super Bowl that year. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts also looking to make some history, becoming the first quarterback to lose their Super Bowl debut, then win their 2nd appearance since Bob Greasy did it with the undefeated Dolphins back in '72. Sal Pal with the Eagles.
The theme for this Philadelphia Eagles football team preparing this week for Super Bowl 59 has been 2 words: unfinished business. Intense self-scouting, installation of the offense and defense this week, and then figuring out how they can get themselves ready for Super Bowl 59. So I had a conversation one-on-one with the head coach to gauge the mood of his football team. Nick, what do you like about this team on the doorstep of going back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I really like our togetherness, that we constantly think about team. The selflessness of being a teammate, the celebrations together, time spent together, not wanting to let each other down. I think that, it's not the best groups of individuals that wins, it's the best teams that win. And our guys have done so much to come together as a team as the year has continued on.
Here's the Eagles' schedule. On Saturday, they will have another light practice and then team meetings on Saturday evening, and then they will depart for New Orleans on Sunday, arriving for Super Bowl 59 on Sunday night. With the Eagles, Sal Paolantonio, ESPN.
We absolutely know Philly's going to have their horses working, and those 2 right there that make up the backfield, and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, as Sacho is back with us. That being said, Sam, who else on this Philly roster has to have a monster game if the Eagles are going to lift the Lombardi?
Yeah, inside linebacker Zach Bond, number 53. He's a Pro Bowler, but he has to have a big game under this Vic Fangio-led defense. The reason why is that in their last game, the Eagles didn't really blitz a lot, so they left Zach Bond in coverage often. But what happened when he's in coverage? He didn't just make a tackle, he would force a fumble. And that wasn't just last week. All season long, you've seen forced fumbles, you've seen interceptions, you've seen fumble recoveries. That's what makes Zach Bond a Pro Bowl linebacker. He's doing his job, but he's doing it at a high level. We know that Jalen Carter and the guys up front are going to have to win one-on-one. But more than anything, when he's matched up on Travis Kelce, really in like some of these zone defenses and the short underneath routes, Zach Bond has to win.
Certainly a high bar for the first-year Philadelphia Eagle who led the team in tackles this season. Also had 5 forced fumbles. Sam Acho breaking things down. It was full throttle, but we're lacking a quarter zip. Enter Jeremy Fowler from New Orleans, a week out from Super Bowl 59. J-Bone, fantastic to see you. You're setting the tone here. Eagles hoping to get defensive star Brandon Graham back in time for the game. How likely is that?
Well, Graham told reporters that he is optimistic that he can work his way back from a torn bicep, which is pretty miraculous. Usually that's at least a 4-month recovery. Brandon Graham tore that bicep back in late November 24th. So he's at least practicing on a limited basis. They've opened his practice window to potentially play. It's not a slam dunk he gets out there. If he can, it could be more of a situational pass rush role. So that's where the Eagles plan to try to win the game, with the defensive line and then also with the offensive line, because we know what they can do behind it with Saquon Barkley. He got some rest this week, big time. Missed all of practice, but that is not to worry. Eagles fans should not be concerned. It was a rest situation. The Eagles were giving him a full week of rest. No real issue. You know, they've set him in the past for maybe a slight calf issue or a slight knee problem. Nothing going on here. They're just happy they could get him that rest, because last time they did in Week 18, he came back, was running through the playoffs, so they feel like he's well positioned. And then Joe Thuney for the Chiefs. No injury here. This is just more a situation where the Chiefs are grateful that he is there at left tackle. Former guard and center slipped out there about a month ago to play left tackle. I talked to a team source who said that Thuney just puts Patrick Mahomes at ease in the pocket. That's why it wasn't just a stopgap situation. He's now the full-time starter back there. Mahomes sacked only 6 times in the last 4 games. Thuney is a big part of that.
A week from tomorrow, the Super Bowl goes down. The Saints, the last team across the NFL, still without a head coach. The Super Bowl is going to impact that. How, J-Bone?
Well, Kellen Moore, the Eagles' offensive coordinator, looks poised to become the Saints' next head coach. That is the full expectation from people I've talked to around the league, is that Moore, longtime coordinator around the league for Dallas, Los Angeles, now Philly, is well positioned here. He had a great meeting with the team Monday night that led into the early hours of the morning with dinner and all those fun things you do in an interview. And now, really, they can't do anything. It's a quiet time because the Saints have to wait until the Eagles complete their Super Bowl run. So after next Sunday, they can reconvene with Moore. They can talk to him. Other candidates are pretty much put on ice here. You know,